Welcome to Lesson 3, Tutorials, Examples, and Practice. In Lesson 3, we'll talk about making inferences, synthesizing, and a number of literary terms to focus on while reading chapters 5 and 6. Making inferences. Good readers make inferences while reading. You might be wondering, what exactly is an inference? Well, when you make an inference, you draw a conclusion about what you read by combining what is written on the page with what you already know. You realize what the author means, even though he or she did not specifically write it all down. Another way to think about it is in a simple equation. Author's statements, which is the text, plus your background knowledge, so what kind of information and experience you bring to the text, equals aha. And the aha is your aha moment, the moment where you reach some kind of new clarity or you're able to draw a conclusion. This is important because experts believe that inferring is the bedrock of comprehension and is what often separates readers with excellent comprehension from readers with poor comprehension. Struggling readers do not realize that, often, what the author does not say is just as important as what the author states explicitly. It's kind of like reading between the lines. Let's look at some examples. Diane blew out the candles and opened her gifts. What day is it? You probably guessed her birthday. Although the text doesn't state that it's her birthday, we can bring our background knowledge to the information and assume, draw a conclusion, make an inference that it's her birthday. Leaves, branches, and debris covered Ron's yard. What probably happened? There was probably a storm. Although it doesn't state it in the text, from our experience we know that sometimes after a storm or a tornado, there might be leaves, branches, and debris all about the yard. Let's try another one. After Chris bought tickets, she bought popcorn, Junior Mints, and a pop. Where is she? You may have said a movie or a play. Depending on your background experience, you may have been to a movie or a play where you were able to purchase popcorn and candy and something to drink. All right, last one. Phyllis forgot to set her alarm last night. What might have happened this morning? She was probably late. If you've ever done this before, if you've seen it in a movie, or if you know somebody that this has happened to, you can kind of make an educated guess based on the text that Phyllis didn't set her alarm, that she may have been late. When making inferences, sometimes there are what we call bumps in the road. Some readers create outlandish responses, inferences that are simply way off the mark. The problem is usually that these readers have relied too much on background knowledge and not enough textual evidence. Be sure you have quality and substantial textual evidence combined with your background knowledge to make your inference. When making an inference, there are many things that you can do. You can make predictions and educated guesses. Think about the results of a science experiment, about how a foreign nation will react to a U.S. policy, about what will happen next in a story, about word meanings based on context, about someone's body language and what it reveals. Pay attention to exactly which text clue or clues led you to your conclusion. Also, check your interpretations to what you read with others. See what they thought about the same items. Before you make any inferences on your own, let's look at some examples of inferences made while reading Of Mice and Men. As mentioned, one type of inference is a prediction. Note that in order to avoid giving away the ending of the book, I used a prediction for something we already know came true. For my prediction, I said, in Chapter 2, Lenny might forget that he's not supposed to speak to the boss. The reason I was able to make this prediction was that I used clues from the story. In Chapter 1, Lenny forgot where they were headed. Also in Chapter 1, Lenny forgot where his work card was located. These were examples from the story, but I also had some background information. I know that sometimes when people forget important things, They're more likely to forget something else. In this case, George stressed that Lenny wasn't supposed to talk to the boss. I had a feeling that once again, Lenny might forget. And I knew this based on the clues from the story and from my own experiences. Another example of an inference is when you think about character traits that are not provided from the story. What I did was I thought about Slim, and I thought about the way that he is treated in the book and the way that he acts in the book. I said, Slim is a leader. I know this because all the main characters listen to him and respect him. In real life, leaders are often treated this way. So I used the clues from the book. I looked at how the characters were acting, and then I thought about what I knew from real life. Now let's practice making inferences. First, take a second to make a prediction. Remember, first, think about what will happen based on clues from the story. What has happened that leads you to believe that something else will happen based on what you already know from your own life and experiences? Can you think of anything? Now think about characters. Become a detective. Think about what you know about a character and identify a character trait for him or her. Try to pick a character that you did not use in Lesson 2. Or think back to Lesson 2. Think about how you came up with your character trait. What did you say about the character, and how did you come up with a trait for him or her? What examples from the text can you provide, and what experience or background knowledge can you put with it to explain your answer? Now that we've talked about making inferences, it's time to watch Lesson 3, Part 2, so that we can talk about synthesizing.